But, Mark, let's move on. Let's move into the NFC North. Let's take a look at the Green Bay Packers, a team that both you and I, when we're talking at it as fans, don't really like, but here on the show, talking with a very unbiased mindset, and we kind of take our Viking and Bears hats and put them off to the side. But this is something that has been brewing this week a little bit, is that the Packers' struggles continue. They lose to the Patriots this past week. They are now 3-4-1. 10th overall in the playoff standings for the NFC. They're still in the thick of things. But I want to ask you, should the Packers fire Mike McCarthy?
I mean, I've thought that Mike McCarthy should be fired a while ago. And it's not all his fault. It hasn't been all his fault. A lot of it has been the fact that for a long time, until this year now, you've had a GM who did not care to go out and get you any players. Mm-hmm. And it still remains to be seen a little bit on how much of that has changed in Green Bay. Green Bay's always been about the homegrown talent. That's what they care about. They want to draft well and then just kind of develop everything. So they have never given Aaron Rodgers anything good to play with. He's had some good wide receivers. He's had moments where he's had a decent running back. He also has had some okay above average defenses every now and then. Mm-hmm. But in the grand scheme of things, he never has anything to work with. And that's been a problem, a big problem for the Green Bay Packers, in the sense that you look at a great team like the Patriots. What do the Patriots do? You can never decide if it's Bill Belichick or if it's Tom Brady because they work so well together. Uh-huh. And Bill Belichick knows how to scheme perfectly for Tom Brady. You look at a young team that's doing well right now, like the Chicago Bears. They followed the LA Rams model. Young coach schemes for a young quarterback. Makes it easy on them. He plays to their talents and their strengths. Mm-hmm. Makes them look better than they might even be at the moment because they're still developing. You have all these people who are proving to you that how do you become very successful? It's got to be great coaching. What has Mike McCarthy done? Said, Aaron, I need you to go out there and win me a game. Mm-hmm. He's not saying, Aaron, I'm going to help you win this game. He's not helping him with his schemes. It's just, doesn't matter what happens, Aaron Rodgers is going to bail me out of anything. Mike McCarthy is not a terrible coach. He is not a terrible coach. He has some big flaws, but overall, he has just not been able to really take advantage of what he has. Aaron Rodgers has been dragging his ass to the finish line every single year. So there's got to be something out there. And a lot of Packers fans will say this, but who else are we going to get? And I don't think that's a good enough answer. I don't think that's a good enough kind of fear to have to make you say, no, we're not going to get a new head coach because we don't know what we're going to have. Nobody expected McVay to be as good as he is. No one's expecting that Matt Nagy has been as good as he has been. People will get surprised. I was very surprised when Doug Marrone actually did something successful in Jacksonville last year. Now they've got some quarterback issues and things like that with their offense, but you will be surprised by head coaches. It's not that everybody is going to know exactly who it is. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get a slam dunk. You know, you could be getting rid of Andy Reid and getting Chip Kelly. But maybe that next coach could be something good too. You can't live in fear that, well, maybe we won't get something as good. Because it doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers is dragging your coach anyways. Mm-hmm. So should he be fired? Yes. Will he be fired? I don't think so. Because he never is. And here's the big thing that I look at when I look at the Packers. They'll probably beat the Dolphins. They might beat the Seahawks. Vikings could be tough. But they'll beat the Cardinals. They can beat the Falcons. They already beat the Bears once. They might be able to do it again. They'll beat the Jets. They'll probably beat the Lions. That was 6 wins. That's going to go ahead and give them 9 wins. And with a tie, 9-6-1, they might make the playoffs.
Or might not make the playoffs.
They might not make the playoffs, but they might make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And if they make the playoffs, once again, Aaron Rodgers saves Mike McCarthy's job.
I am going to lean on, though,
That they won't?
That they won't.
I agree with you.
The reason why is with that mapped out, at the beginning of the year, I was thinking, and of course this is when I thought the Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't going to get injured and the Niners were going to be better, but I said don't be surprised if a team in the NFC gets knocked out and they have 10 wins. To me, 9 wins in this division or in this conference is not going to get you into the playoffs. Like I could see the Packers being like, damn, if we didn't tie against the Vikings, we'd be in the playoffs right now. We would be in the playoffs because we would have beaten the Vikings. And the thing I think about is, when I first thought about this, I'm like, oh, I think we should talk about this. I thought, what would my answer be? And my first thought in my head was, I don't know. I don't know. And the reason why is, this is, to me, the hardest should he be fired topic that we've had. Because it's such a muddy situation where you can look at it either side. You can look at it that his play calling hasn't been that well. He hasn't schemed for players, and former and current players, Aaron Rodgers being one of them, have bitched about this and complained about it. You could also look that this could be now the second year that they're going to miss the playoffs. But you also look at it and go, all right, if this is the second year in a row that they miss the playoffs, this will only be his, 4th season since 2006 when he took the job that he would have missed the playoffs. So, you're looking at it going, obviously he can, obviously with him as the coach with Aaron Rodgers, and I want to say that with Aaron Rodgers, because without Aaron Rodgers, his team isn't what they are.
And we've seen that. When Aaron Rodgers has been hurt, this team has been terrible.
And that's another thing. 2017, you can even throw that out the window because he didn't have Aaron Rodgers. It's like...
I don't think you can. I think that proves that he's not a good coach. Because when his Hall of Fame quarterback, when his most likely the greatest quarterback in the current NFL is not there,
think about
your team is terrible.
No, but think about it. And I know that Aaron didn't go down at the beginning of the year. There were games that Aaron did play, but they still went 7-9. I know that without Aaron, the record was god-awful.
Yeah, but that's the point.
But also, the guy underneath, and that's the reason why they made the Demarius Randall trade in the offseason, because Brett Hundley got exposed, basically. He is not the backup. Let's go get a guy
But
in
Mike
Deshaun
McCarthy
Kaiser.
is supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. And his backup quarterback was shit? Nick Foles was a backup who had a quarterback whisperer coach.
I'm going to say Nick Foles.
And he's a Super Bowl MVP.
I'm going to say Nick Foles is a lot better than Brett Hundley, though.
I've seen Nick Foles, bad play out of Nick Foles.
Yeah, but Nick Foles, if I said, okay, before Nick Foles is a Super Bowl MVP, if 2016
he was out of the NFL.
I said, okay, Brandon, or okay, Mark, who you taking? Usually I have these arguments with Brandon, so that's why I say his name. I say, who you taking, Nick Foles or Brett Hundley? You're going to tell me with confidence that you're going to say Brett Hundley.
First of all, I'm going to say I don't want either of them.
You got to pick one.
But then I would take Nick Foles. I'm not saying that Nick Foles is not a better quarterback, but I'm saying a quarterback who was out of the NFL. 0 teams wanted him. He was ready to start his life as an insurance salesman or whatever the hell he was going to do.
I just think last season,
a good coach let him win.
Last season, there's a silver lining of if they had a little bit better of a backup.
I disagree.
He could have won 1 or 2 more games. Might not have made the playoffs because you need 10 wins to do it. True. But would have been a 9-7, not a 7-9.
I think that exposes your coach as bad.
Here's the thing, though, and this is to me the thing I wanted to look at, and one of the things that I think is it's worse than what we look at. So since 2006, I am going to list off the starting running back for the Green Bay Packers.
So everybody take a seat.
In 06,
get comfortable.
In 06, you have the last year of Ahmad Green. Was that the last year? Did he play after the Packers? I got to double check. So 06.
I don't think so. But
he did. He was in Houston for 2 years. Then he came back to the Packers in 09.
I don't even remember that.
Played 8 games. He only played 6 and 8 games for the Texans combined. But 06 was his last year. He was a 1,000-yard rusher. So he had a stable running back. Then the next year, started Ryan Grant. And Ryan Grant, that was his rookie year. He was 50 yards away, less than 50 yards away from being an 1,000-yard rusher and wasn't even the starter. He was just the best rusher on that team. Then the next 2 years, 08, 09, played 16 games, 1,200-yard rusher. He had 4 and 11 touchdowns. He was the guy for Green Bay. You basically have him for those years. 2010, they get Brandon Jacobs. Then Ryan Grant again for 2011. After that, you get the 2012 year, which their running backs, you want to listen to these? Alex Green led the team with 464. James Starks had 26-year-old James Starks, 255. A 30-year-old Cedric Benson in 5 games, 248. They didn't have a true starting running back to me because Alex Green was also 24 at the time. He was a young pup in those years. Then you have the years of Eddie Lacy. You get 3 years out of Eddie Lacy. And then the last 2 have been, if you said, all right, name the Packers starting running back, most people would say, oh, it's Ty Montgomery. But then I would say, oh, is he really a running back? And you'd say, oh, I guess he's a running back. Like, that's the thing that I think has been...
Well, he's not even on the team anymore.
Exactly. Now it's like you also had the running back by committee, which the running back by committee works. I mean, look at the team we just talked about in New Orleans. They're doing it well. Like, they've got their Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram.
They have 2 number 1 running backs. Exactly. They're just lucky.
Exactly. And the thing that I think would help the Packers out a lot and would take some pressure off of Mike McCarthy, this doesn't help the play calling part of it, but it might make it easier if he had a running back that you could say, this is our running back. Because the years that you look at it, like the Ryan Grant years, so Ryan Grant's rookie year, they went, 3-13 that year? So 07 was his rookie year, 3-13. Then the 6-10 year, then 11-5, 10-6, 15-1. The Eddie Lacy years, you get his rookie year of 8-7-1, which they could be this year, 12-4, 10-6. When the Packers have had a bell cow at the running back position, they have done well. That's what they need. Would I be mad if they fired Mike McCarthy? No. But I don't really think the pitchfork should fully be out yet for him.
I think that if they make the playoffs, obviously not. If they even get close, maybe not. And I'm not saying Mike McCarthy is a terrible coach at all. What I'm saying is Mike McCarthy has been made to look fantastic because of Aaron Rodgers. Same reason why Jason Garrett was able to keep a job for a long time, because he had quarterbacks like Tony Romo and Dak Prescott's first year where they really propped him up and said, you know, maybe he's not that bad after all. When you have good players, they will win despite bad coaching. And it's not that Mike McCarthy's the worst coach in the whole NFL, but... And the Marvin Lewis argument doesn't completely apply here. The Marvin Lewis argument being, when is enough enough? Because, I mean, if you get past last year, they were in the playoffs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. But they also, if you really want to think about the division at that time, the NFC North was pretty awful, with the exception of 2 years, maybe 3 years in that span. But Mike McCarthy has been dragged this way. Sometimes a change of scenery is just beneficial. Sometimes you need something new. Aaron Rodgers is starting to get up there in age. And to me, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is pretty frustrated with that team. He is the star of your team. You give him what he needs. I think what he needs is a fresh coach. Let him be a part of the process. Let him be a part of picking that coach if you want to. I just think that there needs to be something different. And we're saying this as they're 3-4-1 and about to go into the easiest stretch of their schedule. But with that being said, obviously if they win a bunch of games, we're not going to fire Mike McCarthy here.
Yeah.
But if you start losing these games, they have to seriously consider doing something different. The Eagles did just fine when they got rid of Andy Reid. They had a down couple of years with Chip Kelly, but they just won a Super Bowl.
Well, that's because they picked the wrong guy at first.
They did, and maybe Green Bay will do that too, but things still worked out all right.
Here's the thing that, and this is going to ultimately, how I know I just said, I don't know the pitchfork should be out. Like, I don't think we should be, I don't think Packer fans should be sitting there saying, hey, fire Mike McCarthy. But I do think, if you ask me, should he or should he not, I'm going to lean towards yes. And the reason why is exactly what you said. Aaron Rodgers is 34 years old. He's closer to the end than he is the beginning. And wouldn't you like another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers? Like,
if you don't, then it's an embarrassment. If you don't get another one.
I mean,
it is. He is, when it all is said and done, he is without a doubt top 5 quarterback of all time, probably top 3 quarterback of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It is an embarrassment for him not to win at least one more Super Bowl. Especially when you look at the fact that for the majority of his career, the NFC North has been terrible. He has not had a hard time getting up there. Now, when he's getting close to the end, he has a Vikings team that's good and a Chicago team that looks like maybe they're going to be good too.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to be difficult for him. I mean, he is such a great quarterback. Do you want to have him get the same thing that Peyton Manning had?
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning, best regular season quarterback, can't do it in the playoffs, though. You don't want to have that. Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback we've ever seen play the game. And Chris Collinsworth will agree with me when I say it, but he should have more than just one Super Bowl. And I get it. Super Bowls are incredibly difficult to win.
Mm-hmm.
My team's only got 1. Your team has 0. They are incredibly difficult to win, but Aaron Rodgers is an amazing quarterback.
I was thinking about this today that you bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
You know the new Ariana Grande song, like where she sings about her exes and stuff?
Of course.
And you've seen on Twitter, like the one taught me love, the other taught me pain. I figured out of my fandoms, I would put 3 pictures. One taught me love, the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan wins 6 championships.
Yeah.
I love the team. One taught me patience, the Chicago Cubs. And then one taught me pain, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
Because they just get there, and then every time we get close, we lose.
Yep.
That NFC Championship game, we can't get past it. In my lifetime, I'm going to end this with a little player comparison. You love these. I'm going to throw out 2 players. You tell me. So one is not active, the other is active.
All right.
Tell me which one you like better. So they both have 1 Super Bowl.
Cool.
One of them is an 11-time Pro Bowler. The other one is 6 times. The one that is 6-time Pro Bowler also has 2 Most Valuable Player awards compared to the other one that has 3. The one of them has the guy with 11 Pro Bowls. I'll just read it off, and it's easier to
Yeah,
get
you're
this
doing
way.
this in a
Very
weird
hard,
way.
very hard. So here's player 1. Super Bowl champion, 11 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros. He's a 3-time MVP, and he has 2 seasons with the most passing yards in a season.
Cool.
Player 2, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time MVP of the regular season, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and he has 2 years with the best passer rating in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think either of these players are?
I'm not going to even guess who they are. I mean, I'm not going to be even able to be close.
Who would you take?
The quarterback 1 was not Super Bowl MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to take quarterback 2. I want the Super Bowl MVP.
You want to know who you picked over who?
Sure.
You picked Aaron Rodgers over Hall of Famer Brett Favre.
And yeah,
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Brett Favre.
And that's the thing. That's the thing I'm going with is if you don't fire Mike McCarthy now, you might have another Brett Favre. Where it's like we look at Brett Favre. I look at Brett Favre. One of the greatest quarterbacks, like not
of his
winner
era
of my life that I saw play. This was a guy that lost his dad and saw him torch the Raiders. Now the Raiders weren't that good. That I think back then I was like 7 though. But it was like astonishing to see that. And Aaron Rodgers, to me, is one of those where...
If Aaron Rodgers loses his parents, he'll probably do fine out there too.
And I'm going to get to this in the next topic, but I'll say it now, is we always compare Aaron Rodgers to Tom Brady, right? Like, which one's better?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing we're never going to see that would probably answer this question, how many Super Bowls would Aaron have with Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
Would Aaron lose to the Giants with Bill Belichick? Probably not.
If he had a coach that was able to scheme around him, I mean, people always say Tom Brady's system quarterback. People don't always say that, but there's 2 or 3 people out there that say it. Aaron Rodgers never gets that luxury of, hey, maybe I'm a scheme quarterback. He doesn't want to be a scheme quarterback, but he would love to have a coach that made the argument possible.
Look at it this way. Peyton Manning, perfect example. With the Colts, wins it with Tony Dungy. No one's saying that Tony Dungy's not a good coach, but look at his time in Denver. Goes to the Super Bowl with John Fox. They don't win it. What do the Broncos do? All right, this ain't working. John, you're gone. Kubiak, you're in. You win a Super Bowl.
Time is limited. You have to cash in.
Like, and that to me is the ultimate. Like, Mike McCarthy's not a bad coach. He's way better than some of the other coaches in the league.
Super Bowl champion coach.
But the thing that might accelerate this is, hey, we got this quarterback, and we might want to get a Super Bowl out of him, and this marriage between you two just ain't working, and we got to break it up. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think. Would you fire Mike McCarthy? Do you think he should be gone? If he does stay, let's say he stays for the rest of Aaron Rodgers' career, how many more Super Bowls do they win? Do they win any with them two together if the Packers don't decide to fire him? Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section.